Working on the ends of the hair, the third and the lightest of the colours is applied. This is blushed up into the mid-length colour. Isolate with mesh. Directly above this section, take another zigzag parting. The root colour is stretched out. Only the lightest colour is used in this slice. Apply to the mid-lengths and ends. And gently blush the colour up towards the root application. Isolate with clear mesh. This method of the two colour applications are alternated until the section is complete. This application is then repeated on the opposite side. Blushing two colours together allows the eye to see a gentle transition from darker to lighter, with no hard demarcation lines. Move onto the triangle section on the crown. The same application is applied by firstly applying a root application. Place a clear mesh underneath the section for support and blush medium colour from the root application to mid-lengths, and then the lightest of colours is blushed from ends up into the medium colour. Continue alternating the two applications until the section is complete. On the front left-hand side section, the darker of the colours is applied to the roots. Starting at the base of this section, working on a diagonal, take a zigzag parting, placing a clear mesh underneath for support. Then the medium of the colours is applied to the mid-lengths, blushing up and into the root colour. The lightest of the colours is applied to the ends of the slice, and moving up, blushing into the medium colour on the mid-lengths. Isolate with clear mesh. Directly above this section, take a zigzag parting, place over a clear mesh working the lightest of the colour to the mid-lengths and ends, and blushing up and into the root colour. Continue alternating between these two applications. This application is then repeated on the opposite side. When working on the last zigzag slice, the root colour is stretched out slightly longer, and then medium colour is applied through the mid-lengths and the lightest colour into the ends. This application is repeated on the opposite side. On the remaining section in the front hairline, apply the darker colour to the roots. Hair is directed back away from the face. A mesh is placed under the section for support, and then working from the ends up, applying the lightest colour, this is then blushed up and into the root application. This application is repeated on the opposite side. The Lumi Ombrage is a combination of ombre and balayage techniques, designed to create a natural-looking texture combined to a gradual lighter effect on the ends and at the front hairline, to give a contouring, luminous finish. Colour is then developed, removed and toned according to the manufacturer's guidelines. The veil technique has been designed as a non-committal colour application and can appeal to colour-shy clients. Working underneath the parting and back behind the hairline, eliminating any visual regrowth. A profile parting is taken from the top of the crown to the centre of the nape. A radial parting is taken from the top of the crown to the top of the ear. This is then repeated on the opposite side. Using 4 crescent partings taken around the profile and radial partings creates a circle section. Take a profile parting from the circle in the back down to the nape. From the forward circumference of the circle, take a half crescent parting with the wider end meeting the profile. To complete the full crescent, repeat the same method on the opposite side. A crescent shape is taken in the fringe area. The points of this crescent connect to the previous crescent. Starting on the right-hand side of the back crescent, a fine diagonal parting is taken to create a slice. A clear mesh is placed underneath the slice. Product is applied from mid-lengths to ends, and then with the brush on an angle, the product is blushed irregularly up towards the roots to ensure no hard demarcation lines. This is then isolated with clear mesh. Directly behind this section, another slice is taken. Clear mesh is then placed underneath. Product is applied from mid-lengths to ends and then blushed up towards the roots with an irregular application to ensure no hard demarcation lines. This is then isolated with clear mesh. This will allow a visual colour development to the correct level of lift required. Continue with this application with back-to-back slices until the crescent section is complete. The method of using a pintail comb ensures clean partings are used to create sections. Starting on the front left-hand side of the crescent, a horizontal parting is taken. A clear mesh is placed underneath the slice. Product is applied from mid-lengths to ends, and then with the brush on an angle, this time the product is blushed closer to the roots, applying the product irregularly to ensure no hard demarcation lines. The mesh is then folded corner to corner to avoid contact with the face. This is then repeated on the opposite side. The technique is now complete. The colour is developed, removed and toned to manufacturer's guidelines. On towel-dried hair, the sectioning pattern is placed back into the hair. Label M protein spray is used to even out the porosity for an even application. Horizontal slices are taken and the toner is applied thoroughly to the pre-lightened areas. A clear mesh is placed under the first slice to protect the remaining hair underneath. Continue this method of application throughout all pre-lightened areas until complete. The veil technique has been designed as a non-committal colour application and can appeal to colour-shy clients, working underneath the parting and back behind the hairline, eliminating any visual regrowth. Colour is then developed and removed according to manufacturer's guidelines. Two-step colour is worked using two colours. Applying one colour through the underneath to create strength through the perimeter of the haircut, incorporating the same colour through a root stretch in the top section of the haircut, and working with another colour through the mid-lengths and ends. A profile parting is taken from the centre of the forehead to the centre of the nape. A radial parting is taken from the top of the crown to the top of the ear. This is repeated on the opposite side. A diagonal back is taken from the radial, and this is repeated on the opposite side to create one triangular section. From the high recession, a crescent section is taken to meet the radial, and this is repeated on the opposite side. This has created three sections in front of the radial. The remaining hair is the perimeter section, which is undercut. Application for two-step colour, the undercut. Colour is applied to the regrowth throughout the perimeter section. The tail comb and tint brush are held together in the same hand for speed and cleanliness of application. Once the back section is completed, apply colour underneath the section pattern in the front of the radial. At the hairline, tilt the brush on an angle to enable a feathering application. This is to ensure the hairline is clear of any blemishes or stains. Repeat this application on the opposite side. A plastic tail comb is used for client comfort. The rounded plastic edge of the tail comb moves smoothly over the scalp. Once the entire regrowth colour is applied, using a wide tooth comb, the colour mixture is taken through to the lengths and ends. The perimeter section is isolated with clear mesh. Starting on the first section, behind the radial, the same colour is applied to the roots. The outline of the section is applied first. Then, following the curve of the crescent, sections are taken working towards the crown and colour is applied to the roots. Colour is applied to the roots in the crescent section in front of the radial. The two sections are joined together. A waved parting following the shape of the section is taken. This is to create softness and an irregularity through the root area. The corner of the brush is used to stretch the root application into the existing colour, creating a root stretch. A lighter colour is worked from the ends of the hair and blushed into the root stretch. The section is isolated with clear mesh. A waved section following the previous is taken, and the root colour is stretched into the existing colour using the corner of the brush. Lengths and ends are applied again using a lighter tone and blushed into the root stretch. This ensures softness at the root where the colours meet. The section is then isolated with clear mesh. This keeps each of the colours separate and shows how the colours are developing. This is continued up to the final section at the top of the crown, alternating the length of the root stretch to give variation. On the opposite side, the root application is repeated, joining both sections in front and behind the radial together. The root colour is then stretched into the existing colour, and lengths and ends application is repeated. plastic tail comb is used for client comfort. The rounded plastic edge of the tail comb moves smoothly over the scalp. This method is repeated until the top of the crown is reached. The final section is the triangle at the front hairline. The root colour is applied throughout the triangular section. Starting by outlining the section first, then working from the crown using horizontal partings, colour is applied to all of the roots. Lengths and ends application is repeated as previously, and the lighter tone is blushed into the root stretch. By starting your lighter colour at the ends of the hair, it allows you more control as you build the colour up the root stretch and blush the two colours together. Two-step colour is worked using two colours. Applying one colour through the underneath to create strength through the perimeter of the haircut, incorporating the same colour through a root stretch in the top section of the haircut, and working with another colour through the mid-lengths and ends. Once the application is complete, develop, remove and tone to the manufacturer's guidelines. Three-step graduation utilises block colouring and root stretching to build a seamless graduation of colour from the nape to the front hairline, with increasing depth around the face. Each section can be block coloured or root stretched, depending on the desired result. A profile parting is taken from the centre of the forehead to the centre of the nape. A radial parting is taken from the top of the crown to the top of the ear. This is repeated on the opposite side. From behind the ear, diagonal partings are taken to create a large zigzag parting, meeting the ear on the opposite side. This parting will sit 2 inches above the occipital, creating one section at the base of the head. Three inches back from the centre of the forehead, on the centre of the profile parting, a diagonal parting to the high recession is taken. From the high recession, a horizontal parting is taken to meet the radial. A vertical parting is then taken to meet the top of the ear. This will create a box section. On the opposite side, this section is repeated. The remaining hair on the top of the head will then create one section. This will be subdivided into 3 sections for control. Starting at the first back section, the darkest colour is applied to the roots, around the perimeter of the section. Using horizontal partings, starting at the nape, the colour is applied to the roots in the entire section. A plastic tail comb is used for client comfort. The rounded plastic edge of the tail comb moves smoothly over the scalp. A horizontal parting is taken at the nape, and a clear mesh is placed underneath the hair to ensure no unnecessary contact with the skin. The same colour is then applied to the lengths and ends. This method is continued until the whole section is completed. This will create a block colour. The same application is then repeated on the opposite side. The section is then isolated with clear mesh. The top section is now coloured with the medium colour. The top section has been divided into 3 to control the colour application. The colour is applied to the roots around the perimeter of the section. Horizontal partings are then taken, and the colour is applied to all of the roots. The tail comb and tint brush are held together in the same hand for speed and cleanliness of the application. Once completed, the same colour is then applied to the lengths and ends. This will create a second block coloured section. The tail comb and tint brush are held together in the same hand for speed and cleanliness of the application. The section is then isolated with clear mesh. The first box at the recession area is the next section to be coloured. A root stretching technique is used. Working to a guideline and away from the face, the medium colour is applied to the roots and the lightest colour blushed into the mid-lengths and ends. With each root application, working to the previous guideline in the last section, the root colour will increase in length, creating an expansion of colour and depth around the face. Zigzag partings are taken for a soft blend of colour. Apply plenty of product to the ends as you move towards the root colour, and minimal product is blushed together to prevent harsh demarcation lines. This section is now isolated with mesh. The same root stretching technique is repeated within the box section on the opposite side, working away from the face. The section is isolated with clear mesh.